Peace YouTube, it's Sienna. I'm coming at you with a video on how to constructively channel your anger. And I think that this is a really great video to share, and I hope that you enjoy it. I will just give you a few, things about how I came up with this idea. I was really reflecting back, as to the way I used to be when I was a teenager. I'm, over 30 years old now. And I was thinking about, times when I was a teenager and how I used to get so mad. Like, people don't believe me when I say that today. It's funny. I was actually at a store today, and the clerk, she didn't know what she was doing. She wasn't working, like the correct pace. You could tell she was very lost and she didn't understand, and she was a bit frazzled. But I just stayed there and I was like, whatever, no biggie. And she just looked at me and she was like, "Are you always this laid back?" And I just looked at her and I was like, like, what kind of question is that? So, I was dabbling with the idea of, how to make this video. And then her saying that to me today, it was like a, spirit speaking through her and being like, "Hey, you gonna make that video?" So I was like, yes, I will. So, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to be, like I said, I used to be like crazy angry. Like, I used to just, like, somebody would say something to me and it would affect me in such a way that I would just fly off the handle. There would be no warning, because I'm not an arguer. I've never been an arguer. So if you offended me, it was like me and you and fisticuffs, and that was it. And nobody believes me when I say that, but I used to be a scrapper. And I'm just, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, cover my head, like, people know me now and they're like, wow, you used to fight? I'm like, I did. So I would say that the biggest things on this journey of, being able to constructively channel anger, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't get angry, because that would be a bold-faced lie to you. But what I do when I get angry is so much different now than then, So these are a few things that I do. First, when somebody offends me, I ask myself, I'm like, all right, well, why did that offend me? Why do I feel so affected by that person's words? What about that person's words are my own truth? That's huge. A lot of people don't really get that either. They're like, oh, well, this person pissed me off. And I'm like, okay, so what about that pissed you off? Why did it piss you off, and how come it pissed you off? Like, there is a reason for everything. So if somebody pissed you off by the way they were speaking to you, you might want to check the way you speak to others, because every interaction we have is always a mirror. So people always try to talk to you, in a way that they think that you would understand, right? So that's just my opinion. And that's what I find, being that I talk to hundreds of people all the time with the readings that I do, with my job, like, I definitely see different ways of communicating. And when people get really offended, it channels anger. And I think that it's like one of those things you're just like, okay, what about that really pissed me off? And you have to really check yourself. So that's what I do first. I'm like, all right, why am I mad? Okay. And if it's something that, somebody who's outright disrespectful to you and was like, I, told you something crazy, there's those times that you're just like, all right, relax, relate, release. Back in the day, different world, Whitley, she was like, okay, relax, relate, release. I always used to say that. But what I'm going to say here is, if somebody's outright completely disrespectful, and you have to really pick and choose your battles, but there's absolutely times that people are completely nasty to you. And then, when somebody acts like that towards you and you're not giving any of that out, you have to ask them in a calm voice, and don't disrespect them. Say, now, why do you feel that you needed to talk to me that way? And they are going to just be like, I put money on it. So next time somebody tries to disrespect you like that, just ask them. Be like, what's going on? Why do you need to talk to me that way? In that tone and everything. You know, don't say like, well, why are you talking to me like that? You want to shift the vibration downward. You know, like if somebody's talking to you in a disrespectful tone, you want to bring it back down. And you want to say, okay, if that's the way you feel, you know, I'm sorry that you feel that way. You have to respect other people's feelings, you know, and even if they're not respecting yours, I'm not saying, you know, let people walk all over you, not at all. But if people are challenging you, you have to understand that you are a power that people feel like they need to challenge. So that is definitely something that I would bring to anybody's attention too, is, you know, if you find yourself being consistently challenged, you have to understand that you are your own universe, as we all are, but you have to be, you know, the one to be able to say, okay, I guess the universe is trying to test me, or I bet, you know, this person's trying to test my authority, or test my patience, or you're being tested. So what do you do when the test comes, right? You want to make sure that you are prepared for that test. So you just have to breathe in and just be like, you're not stressing me out. And that's the biggest thing for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, you know, they'll play right into it. But you have to understand that it's like a challenge for you, you know. So I personally and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't get mad, because like I said, that would be a lie. But when I do get mad, I react a lot differently now. And for instance, there was something that made me mad earlier today, and you know, I just directed it at its source. You know, I was just like, well, hey, can you answer this question for me? Or I want to vocalize this to you. You know, it's not really that hard to do. I don't necessarily think that, you know, being an antagonist, you know, like to kind of bait somebody into getting an argument is the best thing either. But you do definitely need to vocalize the way you feel about something if it's bothering you. And do it in such a way that you can say, okay, I don't understand why I'm being put in this position to feel this way, but this is the way I'm feeling. And I think that to me, these are things that I've done throughout the years that I've found very helpful. So if you have any questions, if you want me to elaborate more, feel free to drop me an inbox, or, you know, drop me a line down here, or, you know, whatever. You guys know how to find me. I'll talk to you soon.